Our readings this Sunday had a very clear and common theme that we could all pick out, and it's that theme of generous people giving what they had. So the first reading had the poor widow giving what little she had left in regards to food to that prophet Elijah. Our second reading today talked about Jesus giving his entire self, his body, blood, soul, and divinity for his bride, the church. And then in our gospel, Jesus points out two different kind of givers there in the temple. You had the wealthy who gave great sums of money to the temple out of their surplus, it said. And then that one poor widow woman who gave all that she had, 2 small coins. And so naturally this weekend, I think most priests are probably talking about the importance of giving, of their time, their talent, and treasure. Because we're all made to be givers, because we're all made for love. And so I imagine most priests are preaching on all that this weekend, but as I was praying about the readings, I thought it would be good to give a different perspective. And that's the perspective as the one receiving. And so I think most people would agree that in many ways it's easier to give than it is to receive. There's something about receiving that kind of makes you humbled. And some people think it's very easy to receive, so they're willing to receive whatever you give them, and usually that's children, I would say. They're happy to get, especially in holidays, open all those presents. But most of us at some point have to learn this humility of receiving a gift from another. And receiving is something that we as priests especially have to learn very quickly, because we are the ones on the other side of our gospel today. We are the ones who get to receive those gifts, the gifts from the widow and the gifts from the wealthy. And as a priest, our whole life really is dependent upon the generosity of others. So we make no money outside of what is given to us from the people. And so we as priests are very humbled. And so as a priest, we would have no food to eat if it were not for the generosity of others. Our staff here at the church would have no place to work if it were not for the generosity of others. Our school being funded by a tithing model, we would not have the great school that we do or the teachers that we have if it were not for the generosity of the people every Sunday. And so as we gather here tonight, we would not even have the lights on, the air conditioning on, this church to sit in, if it were not for the great generosity of so many people. And so a couple of weeks ago, we celebrated Priest Appreciation Sunday, where at the very end of Mass, we were very surprised to see our heads popping up in the congregation. And this weekend, as we reflected on these readings, we thought it's a good weekend for parish appreciation, parishioner appreciation. Because really all we celebrate here today is because of the generosity of you. And so we like to consider this weekend a parishioner appreciation weekend, thanking each and every one of you for all that you've given to our parish. And once a year, coinciding with these readings about generously giving, we have the head of our finance council come and give us a little update on how we're doing financially as a parish. So it's something priests, we never like talking about money. And so I think that's why we have the head of the finance council do it. So you get to hear it from those who have help us as a parish make sure we're using those funds wisely. And so I think Kevin Kramer just happens to come out of nowhere, and he's the head of our finance council, and he's going to give us a little update on how our parish is doing.
Thank you, Father. You know, I've had the pleasure this weekend of sharing this message with every one of the masses, and it's a nice perspective to hear the homily from all 3 of our priests. We're so blessed to have those 3 priests. And Father, I will tell you, yours is definitely in the top 3. On behalf of the Finance Council and all the fellow parishioners here at Ascension, I want to thank you all for your gifts of time, talent, and treasure over the past year. We as a community at Ascension are truly blessed. The past 2 weeks, we have shared an update on our stewardship and our financial condition in the bulletin. If you've not had a chance to review that information yet, I encourage you to do so. And you'll find at the bottom of the financial statement, it lists the other members of the Finance Council. Please reach out to any one of us should you have any questions. Now, it was brought to my attention this weekend that we did have one omission from that financial statement. We failed to budget for a new selfie stick for Father Nathan this year, so we'll make sure to get that taken care of. You know, stewardship has long been ingrained in our faith here at Ascension. Many do their part to return the gifts that God has given them by volunteering, through their prayers, and their financial support. We have over 100 ministries in our community, many of which require some sort of financial support. Vibrant stewardship has allowed us to continue that mission without any special collections, capital campaigns, or fund drives. A perfect example is our focus on our Faith in Action ministry this year. This past year, we were able to dedicate more funds to help those in need. Not only those in our parish, but those in our community and those across the world that need a little extra help. As Father said, as we heard in the first reading today, the widow was able to eat for a year and feed her son for a year just by the simple act of feeding Elijah first. God will continue to provide for all of us as long as we provide for our neighbor first. Since our inception, as Father mentioned, Ascension has supported our parish school through a tithing program. This allows our parishioners to support our community through the financial stewardship in a manner based on the gifts that God has bestowed on them. The stewardship guidelines are 5, 4, and 1. 5% of your annual income directed to the parish, 4% directed to other charities or the parish, and we always encourage our school families to direct that 4% to the parish to aid in the education of their children, and the 1% to the Archdiocesan Call to Share. These guidelines are included in the bulletin this week. As a tithing parish, it's important for us all to be good stewards of our financial blessings. Many neighboring parishes have needed to move to a tuition model for their parish school. We all appreciate the work that our school funding task force has done to educate our families on the importance of tithing, on the education of our young people. As you will see from our update in the bulletin, our parish is doing well, but there are still so many more needs. Youth programming is so important to keep our younger generation engaged in their spiritual life. We have a wonderful campus here at Ascension, but with any structure that's 18 years old, we will see increases in maintenance costs. And we all are living the challenges of rising healthcare costs. Ascension has over 100 employees, so these increases in healthcare costs are significant. Our parish council has encouraged our entire community to reach out to those who are in need. This includes helping the poor, the elderly, and families in need. Many of those families, many of those individuals are right here in Johnson County. We have over 20 ministries in our parish that support those directly in need. The need continues to grow, and we as a parish community will always find ways to meet that growing need. Over the next few weeks, you will receive your stewardship commitment form in the mail. I ask you and your family to prayerfully consider how you can support our parish through your gifts of time, talent, and treasure. And I'd also remind you to revisit the pledge you made for this year. And if we can ensure that all of our parishioners fulfill those stewardship pledges, we'll be able to continue to fund those ministries as we close out the year. Jesus keeps knocking on our doors, the doors of our life. He doesn't do this by magic, nor with special effects. He doesn't do it with flashing lights and fireworks. Jesus keeps knocking on our door in the faces of our brothers and sisters, in the faces of our neighbors, in the faces of those at our side. This quote was from Pope Francis during his recent visit to the United States. And I think it really sums up our parish and the good that we can do with your continued financial support. Thank you.